My name is Lanisa Lynn Stanley. I was born in Bridgeport, Texas on April 2nd, 1962. I grew up in a little bitty community called Flatwood, in between Decatur and Boyd. Flatwood was like a different world from growing up and moving into Decatur. At Flatwood, it was mainly my family, so I was protected, I was loved, I was taught that you don't judge a person by their color or what they're wearing or what they're driving or what they live in. You judge the person by their actions. When I started school in Paradise at a very early age, I could see what the rest of the county was like. It wasn't like what I had been taught at home. I remember one time there was a family that moved in. I was in the 5th grade. And it was the first African American family to move to Paradise as far as I knew. This was in the 60s. And she was in kindergarten, a beautiful little girl, smiling, ready to get onto the bus. And the first day she rode the bus, they tormented her. They terrorized that little girl. They pulled her hair. They took her backpack and threw it off the bus. They scared that little girl so bad that within 3 days her family had moved. Excuse me. Because they didn't want her to go to school there. It was mostly family that lived there, grew up there, became teachers. Most of the people didn't grow up and move away. They stayed in that community and became the school teachers and the custodial and part of the school. But that same prejudiceness stayed there too. And it grew as they grew. I remember when my very first place that I got of my own, I moved out because I was dating a black man. And my mother and father, during that time, they were not accepting of it. So I had to leave home. And I moved into Ada Decatur apartments. By now, my baby was born, and he was 3 months old. And I called him JR because I named him Jimmy Ray Jr. And, at about 6 to 7 months pregnant, the father, Jim Ray, had started leaving a lot and staying gone. So it was usually just me there at the apartment, and I didn't have a phone, I didn't have a car. So when JR was born, he was born in March. He was 3 months old, so that'd be June. We were sitting in the house, and I was watching TV, and he was wrapped up in a blanket. He was asleep. And it was about 9:30. I was getting ready to go to bed. And I turned the lights off in the living room. And I heard like these bird calls outside that didn't sound right. But it was a bird call. One would go from the front of the house, and then one would echo from the back of the house, and then one would come from the right side of the house. And it was doing this repeatedly. Well, I just thought, that's strange. And I took JR and I laid him in the bed, and I was taking off my house shoes to lay down in the bed beside him. And all at once, all the glass all throughout the house just started busting. All at one time, they were throwing bricks through my windows at 9:30 at night, and it was just me and my infant son, 3-month-old son. You just have to do whatever you have to do to get your child safe in that moment. You don't have time to register, oh my God, this is the KKK again coming after me and my child. All you have time to do is think, get my child safe. So I grabbed him off of the bed, and I pulled him over onto the floor with me, and I pulled the mattress off of the top of the bed, and I laid it down over top of us, and glass is busting. There's bricks being thrown into the house, and on one of the bricks it said, "Get out of town." in Lover, and I was alone. It was dark. I was afraid to leave. Even after all the chaos had stopped, I was afraid to leave because I was afraid they were around a corner, or, hiding behind a tree, or if I come down the stairs, they were going to shoot me or my baby, or I didn't know what they were capable of when they showed that much hatred towards a 17-year-old girl and a 3-month-old baby that wasn't hurting anyone. We were just in our home. That was a terrifying experience. That's something I'll never forget. You just don't think about things like that until it happens. Or I hadn't. And after that, you can't think of anything else. At all time, you're on guard. You're on guard to protect you. You're on guard to protect your child. You're living in a county that you know now, every moment that that child steps out that front door, he's in danger. Because he's not accepted.
Knowing what you know now, if you could go back, or if you could help someone that didn't know like you didn't back in the day, what would you tell them?
First thing I would tell them is make sure that your children know that they're loved from inside the home. Try to teach them that there's nothing wrong with them, that it's the other people that are wrong. It's hatred, it's ignorance, it's people get scared of things that they don't know and they don't want to know and they can't accept. So fear makes people act stupid. My advice to them would be, look above that. Be stronger. Show them who you are and what you're made of. Because you're beautiful. Don't let them ruin your life. Young people, don't let hatred ruin your life. Don't get caught up in the scene that they want. America wants the young Black youth to be in prison, to be incarcerated, to be beat down and scared of saying what's right. Don't be afraid, but be smart of how you do it. Don't play into their hands. Be smarter than they are. Get your education. Be smarter than they are. And don't react from hatred with more hatred, because it just grows more hatred. That would be my advice.
What does the Black Lives Matter movement mean to you?
For me, the Black Lives Matter movement means finally, people are at least starting to see the real truth, to really see it and not cover it up, to not hide behind politics and money. It's a chance for doors to start opening and for things to start changing if people would really stick to it and not just push it under another cause and forget about it. If we do this again as a nation, we'll never come up. We will never come up and unite as a people. We're tearing ourselves down by not including everyone. Everyone deserves a chance. Everyone deserves to be loved and heard and have a chance to make a life and love their children and be together and have a good education. No skin color, no dollar sign should ever. The police have been doing this all along. It's just now starting to be seen worldwide. This has been going on all along, and it's been pushed under and pushed over and swept under the rug, and people have just completely ignored it, but it's been going on, and they know it. They know it's been going on. You have to teach your kids, if you're a Black person in America and a policeman pulls you over, you've got to make sure that your hands are nowhere near your pockets. You can't reach for your in your glove compartment to show them an ID. You've got to make sure that they can see your hands. They'll ask you, hold your hands up, show me your ID. You start to show them an ID, show me your hands. You know, there's so much fear and confusion and hatred. Something's got to change. Something's got to change. Maybe my grandchildren have a chance of not having to grow up in the same type of world that my boys grew up in. Because if everybody can get the grasp of this, of the outrageousness of the behavior that has been happening, and make a change, a real, live change, my grandkids have a chance at just being people instead of being biracial,